I know I'm late to the hype, but I made a princess as JINX cosplay, and it broke me. Oh, and hey, I have no idea what I'm doing. This is not a tutorial, and if you're here to learn something, may I suggest the YouTube search bar? This is complete chaos. This is mistake after mistake, and compromise is purely made from my bad time management. This is not a how to make a cosplay. This is the record of the months that went into working on this project, and hey, in the end, it worked. I was gonna bind the whole bottom edge of all the layers with this really pretty organza ribbon, but after doing a little bit and figuring out how long and the amount of materials that would actually take, I opted for just not and saving the ribbon for a different project. I used the Kiralee cosplay petticoat tutorial to make this, so if you wanted to actually know how to do it, go check that out. It was very helpful. The actual sewing part of this wasn't that bad, just a lot of ruffle. And that was a lot quicker on camera than in real life. I am never doing that again. Until the next time I do it again, obviously. It is pretty though. Still missing a waistband. This is just a piece of scrap fabric that is going under the petticoat because tulle is itchy. And I guess I cut it out with my teeth. And I just sewed that right into the waistband, along with some elastic. And I was really craving this amazing purple soup that I just love to make, and I was like, hey, 2 birds and 1 stone, and I made this bedsheet purple, which was the perfect color for the JINX inspired skirt. My cat also really appreciated this. Anyway, I used that purple fabric to cut out 2 circle skirts, and no one cares, this is just a cat video now. Alright, fine, so I very quickly cut out 2 circle skirts with this purple fabric, and then I stared at the cat even longer. And then I added some ribbon to mimic the design on JINX's pants, and it looked really cool, but there wasn't a cat, so like it doesn't even matter. And then I very quietly sewed those down. So quietly that if you were 3 streets down, you couldn't hear me. The smaller purple ribbon was giving me a lot of trouble with moving around on the machine, so I literally glued it down before sewing it, and it worked very well. Then, these 2 wrinkly pieces of fabric that were sitting in the corner of my room for months got a basting stitch along the outside edge. Jinx has these rips on the end of her pants, so along the outside of the circle where I just basted it, I drew out varying sizes of triangles. Also, I don't really know why I did this with the white heat erase pen, because when I went to actually go sew it, I couldn't see a lot of the lines that I had made. When I cut them out, they looked really cool. They're not perfect and have some puckers, but I'm honestly really proud of them and they're my favorite part of this cosplay. Then I had to make a waistband. I put elastic in the back because it was easy, but that does make it scrunch up a lot. I wish that I just put a zipper or something for a more fitted look. It's good to know for the future, I guess. Then Jinx has a striped waistband collar thing, whatever that's called, which will cover the waistband that I just made, but this one doesn't have elastic in it, which gave me problems I'll have to fix later. This process is just measure a bunch, cut a bunch, sew a bunch. Also, I'm using a towel to iron on here, but I have an ironing board that's hanging up right beside me. I didn't film most of this, but I pretty much cut out the shape of the band in the striped fabric and also that same shape in the light tan fabric and then bag line them together. I did end up with it too big, so I had to painfully cut off some of my work. I finished the open side with just a top stitch because you don't see this part when you're wearing it. Then I sewed on some snaps so that it can close. And I just love sewing on snaps. They're my favorite thing to sew on. I love them so much. I wish I could sew more on, honestly. I want to do it every day. I used a heat erase pen so I could mark out exactly where the other side of it would be sewn on. This is her first pocket, which is fake. But don't worry because the second one I will make is real. Sewing this up was so cursed because the whole time the bottom thread was not catching, and then I hit my presser foot and it just came off. When I did finally get it sewn up, I trimmed the seam allowance, pressed it, and top stitched it on the circle skirt. I'm sewing this on wrong sides together so then I can press the striped piece to the front. Since I did put elastic in the waistband, the striped piece isn't sewn all the way around, rather only in the front, and then when I put it on, I snap it in place and fold in the top. Now this is what we call a real pocket. Very necessary, very cool. The fabric by itself isn't strong enough to hold my phone without looking weird, so I added some of this thicker fabric I just had and it works a lot better. I also used some gold paint on the outside. Would this have looked better if I had sewn on some nice gold trim or something? Yes. Did I wait until the night before I needed this done to do this? Also yes. I wanted to add some layers to the outfit, so I decided to make a high-low skirt to go under the main circle skirt, which I've researched heavily and know exactly how to make that and not mess up at all. I just have to cut out the waist and I got this, which is wrong. Do you see why? I'll slow it down for you. It's right there. It's an oval. It's supposed to look like this. Like this. Like this. Not like this. But I folded it in half and it looked even cooler, so happy accidents, I guess. Very wrinkled though, so I gotta iron it. Which is fun. I'm having fun. This is fun. Then I binded the edges with some of the ribbon from the circle skirt. And I sorted out with the ribbon iron to make it easier, and then I opted for just figuring out on the machine because it was taking way too long. I also haphazardly hemmed it at the waist, which is technically not the waist anymore. This is my cat. This is also my cat. She really likes the things that I make. It's nice to have a fan, you know. Oh, and sorry, I filmed this next part with my glasses off, so you really can't see it. This is just me making 2 strings to put on the underskirt to tie around my waist, since the underskirt no longer has a waist and I'm not wasting my time making anything fancy to hold it up on my waist. Then I just sewed those on the underskirt. Like, really sewed them on the underskirt. Here's a sneak peek of the outfit, but don't worry, I took my glasses off again. Next up is her boots, aka the hardest thing to walk in. These I got at the thrift store, which was pretty lucky because they were exactly what I was looking for. I started off by painting the bottom of the shoe a gray and just acrylics. Then I gave that a nice seal with just some Mod Podge. Then I just cut out a piece of EVA foam that I heat shaped and then hot glued onto the top of the shoe. This is also the part that makes it really hard to walk in because they hit each other, so I just glued down the flaps a little bit to make this easier. I couldn't see anything when I was doing this either, by the way. Then I just gave that a nice good coat of Mod Podge. Jinx has these pieces of metal on her shoes, so I just put a piece of duct tape down and then traced the shape out. Then I just taped that down onto a piece of paper and cut it out, and then finally cut it out from the EVA foam. Which I also gave a good Mod Podge coating. And now for the most important part, googly eyes, which I'm just using for the shape. I didn't film it, but I did add an edge of foam to the flap, which gives it some more dimension. Then I'm just hot gluing some of this hot pink yarn to both sides of the shoes in this tic-tac-toe pattern. Then I used some black acrylics to paint both the foam and the eyes. I made an X out of foam and hot glued that to the back of the shoe. Did I mention it was hot glued? Everything was hot glued. And then I gotta lace these up with some hot pink yarn, and they were done, ready to be worn. Alright, now time for the part that I was dreading. I wanted to try my hand at wig making. Have I ever made a wig? No. Did I have any confidence I could do it? No. But did I try anyway? Yes. Spoiler alert, it did not fully work. But I did learn a lot. I don't like making wigs. My plan was to make the pigtails easily removable and thought Velcro would trap the hair too much, so I tried magnets, which I later found out were not strong enough and to just use Velcro instead, but I won't figure that out till later. Painted this blue with some watered down acrylics. I then threw that aside for a while and started on the pigtails. I crimped the hair that I was going to use and it literally doubled in size. I originally was going to braid this and add one long tuba tool over it and then tack it down to the shape, but I could never make it look right. I started again and just made 3 smaller tubes of tulle and covered each hairpiece with one. This looked a lot better than the first way. If this looks short to you, don't worry, this is only half of one. There are 4 of these. This was when I realized that they were too heavy and tore the magnets out and replaced it with Velcro. JINX has these metal tubes in her hair and mine are just made out of a paper towel roll with EVA foam glued onto it. I then primed and painted them. This shot to me is giving bottom of the ocean. These really bring the braids together. I originally wanted to bead the whole cosplay, but didn't really have the time or the interest, but I did add some beads to the braids. My next project does involve beadwork, so I will be making up for that. This just perfectly shows my relationship with this wig, the braids being my baby and the rest I don't even want to look at. I didn't film any of it, but this was my first go of the base wig, and it didn't look horrible, but I was not loving it. I did end up ripping it apart and doing it all over again, and it was better that time, but it still looked kind of weird. I'm glad I tried though. Alright, time to speedrun this. First, the gloves, which I traced my hands and arms to make. I forgot to sew this before cutting it out, so I had a lot of fun. On the one arm, I added the same purple fabric that this circle skirt is made out of and sewed in a fake cuff. I also sewed on some of that extra stripe fabric that I made. It's gonna look like this. Now the shirt. This was made in one day and I filmed none of it. Her metal finger is just painted EVA foam. Her blaster was like the second prop I've ever made. It's EVA foam, cardboard, and paper mache. And that's it. Thanks for watching. Give this a like, consider subscribing, and here's the final look.